Shout out to Bring Our Q, Julius, you legend. We're going to do a joint interview, yeah? Yeah, we'll do a joint interview, Julius. Thanks for the support. You're a legend. From your girls, Raven and Ellie.
Welcome to the motherfucking relay. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. Ahead of Clarissa Shields' upcoming fight this weekend, former WBO champion Savannah Marshall says, Shields needs me. Won't make as much money fighting anyone else, which to some degree is true. I mean, you could do a number of fights for Clarissa here in the United States, a number of them, and they won't generate the interest here in America that fight would in the UK. Take this weekend's fight, for example. They're struggling to sell those tickets. I've seen how my profile grew just from that one fight, and I believe that it was down to the rivalry massively, Marshall told Sky Sports. Even now, all people are saying is, when's the rematch? When's the rematch?
What boxing is about. It's a business.
If you haven't got a rival, it's not that you're going to struggle, but that's where it happens. They're the fights people want, where there's a bit of needle. Cruz DeZern is good friends with Shields, and the two champions have been sparring each other to prepare for their respective title defenses. If Savannah Marshall can do to Franchon Cruz what she's done to Femke Hermans and many other girls before her. Not saying that she will or won't, though if she did, if she knocked out Franchon Cruz and became the super middleweight division's undisputed champion, do you realize that she wouldn't need Clarissa Shields? Because Clarissa wouldn't be her only option, whereas Clarissa, having already fought many of the fighters at these weights, there's not that many girls that can get her a payday, save Savannah Marshall. But Savannah, through title defenses, defending the undisputed crown, she has a number of options. Look, I got beat. I'm not a champion anymore, but I've got the backing and people want to see me fight. There's a buzz already around this fight, and I don't think Shields likes that, Marshall said. Shields wanted me to go to America. I agreed. I said I'd go to America, but I want paying. It doesn't generate the same money as it does here. I think she's starting to realize that. I think we will eventually get there. She needs me just as much as I need her. She's never going to make as much money fighting anyone else than what she would fighting me. I've learned that that's what boxing's about. People love confrontation. People love watching people who actually hate each other fight. The fight benefits Clarissa just as much as it benefits Savannah, though if by some chance a Shields rematch can't happen because Clarissa wants to stand on her square, I'm not telling you that it's all sunshine and rainbows for Savannah. I'm just telling you she has more options than Clarissa she does. If she beats Franchon Cruz, and if she stops her, becomes that division's undisputed champion, that's a profile boost right then and there. Afterwards, she would have to satisfy her mandatory challenger in Jade Green.
It's no easy task. That is not an easy sequence of fights. From Franchon Cruz to Jade Green.
They're both dangerous, you understand. Both Franchon Cruz and Jade Green are dangerous. But Clarissa's already been there and done that with Franchon, and she won't make big money fighting Jade Green, whereas Savannah,
she's got a network behind her.
A big one. One of the biggest in the United Kingdom. She could make good money fighting Jade. She could make good money fighting Raquel Miller, both unbeaten fighters from right here in the US of A.
But 2 years ago, Raquel Miller spoke to Fred Hawthorne of Barbershop Conversations, divulged what happened between her and Clarissa, how she was approached for a fight with Clarissa more than once, but the money wasn't right.
I don't know what, if any, effort has gone into making a Shields versus Miller fight in recent years. I don't know, but what I do know is a fighter like Raquel isn't going to fight on the cheap.
Undisputed title fight. You think these fighters are going to fight for peanuts on a dollar? I'd wager Boxer would be willing to pay Raquel something closer to what she wants than Dimitri Salita.
Run down the list of options. Jade Green, Raquel Miller, Hannah Gabriels.
Hannah that was supposed to be fighting Clarissa this weekend, but we know what happened. She tested positive for a banned substance. She's trying to clear her name.
I saw an article from Boxing Scene that stated Clarissa has no immediate plans to reschedule the Hannah Gabriels fight.
The rematch.
So if she doesn't have a rematch with Savannah, and she doesn't have a rematch with Hannah, they can fight each other. That's yet another option for Savannah Marshall as an undisputed champion. If she wins, if she beats Franchon.
Jade Green, Raquel Miller, Hannah Gabriels, Christina Hammer.
Former unified middleweight champion who's only got one loss on her record, and that's the loss to Clarissa Shields. She's not busy with anything. For the right price, they might be able to get her in the ring with Savannah.
Former unified champion Lean Cedar Rose.
There's some of you out there that aren't going to like the sound of this, but that's reality. That's the truth, and you don't have to like it. Clarissa doesn't have to fight Savannah for a second time.
I'm not saying she does. I'm saying that if she doesn't...
Who's going to pay her the way she wants to get paid? I can only deduce that she'd probably go back to the PFL and mixed martial arts.
Probably.
There are not that many girls to go around at these weights. Savannah Marshall is one of the few that can get get you a decent purse.
One of the few, one of the two.
You get in arguments with people over this stuff if you mention it online, but are any of these people actually buying a ticket to Clarissa's fight this weekend? Are any of these people going to actually tune in to watch her fight with Marisela Cornejo? I can tell you right here and right now that Marisela doesn't stand a chance.
It's not as appealing a fight as the Marshall fight, the Marshall rematch. Not as attractive.
Not as interesting. For all of the online support you see in reference to Clarissa, for whatever reason, it doesn't seem to materialize in the real world.
You can't pay the bills and keep the lights on with YouTube comments and Twitter tweets.
Doesn't make a difference. Doesn't make a dent. Rampant virtue signaling and those who would argue just for argument's sake, knowing they're not going to buy a ticket to Shields versus Cornejo. It's not as interesting a fight. They may not even watch it, though they insist on arguing.
Fucking useless.
But they'd get in their feelings if me or you point that out. That grim reality, that inconvenient truth that if Clarissa don't want to fight Savannah Marshall for a second time, she doesn't have to, though if she doesn't...
She doesn't owe her a rematch.
So if she doesn't have it, I can tell you Clarissa won't get a decent-sized purse anywhere else, fighting anyone else, not unless she crosses sports again.
Most girls at these weights don't have a network behind them, like Savannah.
That's reality. You don't have to like it. Men's lightweight and super lightweight news. Ryan Garcia names Teofimo Lopez, Isaac Cruz, and Rolly Romero as possible opponents. Shoots down Manny Pacquiao. Garcia will move forward with new trainer Derek James as a super lightweight the next time he steps into the boxing ring. The 140-pound division is one that Garcia has competed in twice before getting stopped by Davis during a 136-pound catchweight bout in April. Over the last week, the 24-year-old Garcia has been throwing around feelers on social media on who he should face next. First, he lobbed
the idea of Rolando Romero on Saturday.
Rolly's under orders to fight his mandatory challenger, O'Hara Davies. If he wants Ryan, he's going to have to give up the WBA title. That was on Saturday. Ryan played with the idea of fighting Rolly. On Tuesday, he mentioned the recently minted 140-pound WBA champion Romero again, while acknowledging that earlier this week, Romero had a mandatory fight ordered by the WBA to defend his title against O'Hara Davies. If push comes to shove, I think Rolly would be willing to part with the WBA title to get Ryan in the ring.
If push comes to shove.
Garcia also listed career-long lightweight Isaac Cruz as a desired next opponent, but with a caveat that Cruz must climb to super lightweight in order for a potential clash to be possible. I don't think that happens. No. I think Isaac might end up fighting Gervonta later on this year, once he's through with house arrest.
Isaac?
No, Gervonta. He's under house arrest right now. Garcia also mentioned Teofimo Lopez as someone he'd like to face. Lopez faces Josh Taylor on June 10th. And after Garcia initially noted he would like to face Lopez, depending on the outcome, quote-unquote, he immediately clarified his stance and said, either way, I like involving the fans in my decisions. Some will say that's not good, but I think it is good for the sport, whether it's negative feedback or good, said Garcia after sharing his preferred trio of next foes.
Didn't mention Josh Taylor.
Seems like he's willing to fight Teofimo Lopez if he wins or loses the Josh Taylor fight.
And then there was the wild card opponent, Manny Pacquiao, floated once again by Garcia's promoter, Oscar De La Hoya, on Wednesday.
It's a very real option for both guys. Imagine a fight at a catchweight. It can be the biggest fight for both guys, De La Hoya said in an interview with Marcos Villegas of Fight Hub TV. I can see that fight happening at 142, 143 pounds maybe. Ryan Garcia is a big kid. Along with Romero, Cruz, and Lopez, who Ryan mentioned, I think Manny Pacquiao is the biggest fight that can be made. It all depends on what Ryan is feeling. We all know that he doesn't like tune-ups. We're hoping by September or October he can come back and fight. Hours after De La Hoya's comments were made public, Garcia took to social media and shot down the idea of a Pacquiao fight, writing, "This isn't happening. I said what I wanted. It's frustrating. Tired of this."
There's a growing suspicion that Ryan Garcia means to change his decorum in more ways than one. He's already sacked Joe Goosen as his trainer and enlisted the aid of Derek James. He's changed his decorum that way, and some speculate that he means to leave Goldenboy Promotions as soon as he can.
Here's why.
If a win, I wouldn't have got to see it. A loss, I seen everybody leave me, and then I got to see who was really there for me. After the fight, nobody was there for me. Like, my team just didn't come to the press conference. They ain't go do nothing, you know what I mean?
That's so savage, man.
I was left with somebody betrayed me in camp. They weren't trying to look out for me after the fight. It was like, I was left with that.
That's worse than fight?
Bro, it was the worst. And I had Tank's team really caring about me more than my own team. I had God with me the whole way. So I'm gonna understand who's there with me. God, my mom, and the team I'm gonna have there.
It is true that neither Oscar De La Hoya or Bernard Hopkins were there to console Ryan Garcia at the post-fight press conference. Only Golden Boy Promotions' Eric Gomez, as far as staff, aside from Ryan's immediate family, was there with him after the fight was over. I feel like Oscar and Bernard shat the bed. They had some sort of reason for not being there. I think I heard something about death threats, though I hardly believe that.
They should have been there, and because they weren't, that further strained the relationship they have with Ryan.
Drove a wedge through it.
I'm not gonna lie, when I saw you there, I was like, please just get up.
You know what, man? It's just one of those shots that your body just wanted to do it, and you can't. Like, I'm looking at
Is it a breath thing, or is it just like a physical pain?
It's both. Like, everything's shutting down. You're like, and I'm looking. I'm like, why can't I move? I couldn't really do anything. And I was everything was drained out of me already, though. I was like, imagine you being dehydrated, and on top of it, you get hit with it.
Almost immediately, you can draw parallels between Canelo and Ryan, how Canelo's relationship with Golden Boy ended, and how Ryan's relationship with them may be ending. As he stated, he was frustrated by Oscar's comments, Oscar lobbying the idea that he might fight Manny Pacquiao when he made his own feelings clear.
He wants Isaac Cruz, he wants Rolly Romero, he wants Teofimo Lopez.
I really feel like Oscar and Bernard, they really shat the bed not being there for Ryan after that fight. That strains their relationship moving forward. But I also feel that Ryan is a little bit too headstrong for his own good. I mean, if you were in that fight with Gervonta and you were dehydrated, you agreed to that.
I don't know that that's something that Oscar wanted for Ryan or something that Oscar would have agreed to, or Bernard. Ryan, however, he's the one who was on record saying he would not let Golden Boy Promotions get in the way of this fight.
There's blame to be assigned on both sides. You wanted this fight to your own detriment. You wanted it bad enough that you wouldn't let your own promoters get in the way, and you got what you wanted.
Some feel that Ryan might cross over to the PBC if he can. Two of the three names he mentioned fight on that side of the street. Isaac Cruz, Rolly Romero.
Gervonta Davis, of course, the caveat for a rematch being that it would be at 140 pounds instead of at a catch weight.
They made a lot of money, sold a lot of pay-per-views with the first one. They could do it again with the second if Ryan were to go over there.
Ryan's grown frustrated, seems all but fed up with Oscar. Not the first time that we've heard of rough seas between Ryan Garcia and the outfit that promotes him. We've been hearing this kind of stuff over the years for a while.
Canelo Alvarez eventually left Golden Boy. The same could happen with Ryan.
The names that he wants are on other sides of the street. Outside of those names, what can Golden Boy do for him?
How much longer does he have until his contract is up?
As a Golden Boy Promotions fighter, can he get the fights that he asked for, the fights that he wants?
And if he can't,
can he leave? Because I'm starting to get the sense that if he had the liberty to do so, he would.
Yeah, I don't want to be disrespectful right now.
Say your truth. Say your truth. Say what you.
Listen, if we fight, well, all right, I'm gonna say this without being too disrespectful. I felt like he lost against Loma. I felt like Loma won.
Look at that. Another professional boxer with no real horse in the race saying that they feel Vasyl Lomachenko won the fight.
This isn't really a new development. Reed just said that the night of the fight he felt that Loma won. But this video, this interview conducted by Marcos Villegas of Fight Hub, it was uploaded to his channel earlier today.
For those that might accuse me of regurgitating the same spiel, pushing propaganda,
constantly bringing up that most people feel Vasyl Lomachenko won the fight.
What do you expect me to do? Ignore what Regis is saying? Act like people aren't still talking about it? They are!
I still feel like Loma won. And I do feel like if I land those same shots that Loma landed on Devin, it's not gonna be good. That's without being too disrespectful. I don't want to be too disrespectful because we might fight, and I want to save that for the fight, save that for press conference and all that type of stuff. But Loma was touching him up. He had some whelps on his face, all that stuff. And Loma is a 30-pounder, and you're talking about somebody that been at 40 his whole career. And I'm a big puncher at 140, and I really hurt people. So. Just saying, just off of that performance, his last performance against Loma, if I hit him with those same shots, I definitely feel like it's good night for sure.
Now, Regis Prograis, the night of the fight, He said that he felt Vasyl Lomachenko won, and that's before him fighting Devin Haney actually became a conversation. That didn't happen until a few days later, when Devin Haney reportedly expressed an interest in moving up in weight and facing Regis upon returning to Matchroom.
I agree with Regis. If he ends up opposite the ring, Devin Haney, anywhere inside of 2 to 3 fights, I don't think Devin can stand up to his power.
Being completely honest with you, I saw how many shots Vasyl Lomachenko, a southpaw, like Regis is a southpaw. I saw how many times he was able to get around Devin's guard, get through it. I saw how many punches he was able to touch him with. And like Regis, I thought to myself, if Regis hits this guy with those same shots, he won't be able to absorb them. He won't be able to take them. Vasyl Lomachenko was at his 3rd weight. Don't forget that this guy used to campaign as a featherweight, a super featherweight, and subsequently a lightweight, whereas Regis...
Vasyl Lomachenko is barely a lightweight.
He's a lightweight on the much smaller end of the spectrum, whereas Regis, he's a career-long super lightweight and one of the 2 most devastating punchers in the entire weight class. Here today, based on what I saw in the Loma fight, I don't actually think Devin is ready for Regis. The saving grace for Devin is that fight's not about to happen. He's got to get through Puerto Rico's own Danielito Zorrilla, and then afterwards, he might fight Jack Catterall.
Could be a while before it becomes about Regis and Devin.
Time is on Devin's side. He's many years younger than Regis Prograis. Regis is in his mid-30s.
Yeah.
Devin is in his mid-20s.
Time is on Devin's side, though power isn't.
Power, as they say, a fighter's power, it's usually the last thing to go. So Regis may stay a dangerous opponent for Devin.
2 fights from now, 3 fights from now, a year from now.
I've seen the cookie-cutter comments from Devin's supporters that he will quote-unquote outbox.
Oh, he's gonna outbox him.
Box him out, not box him. I've seen the generic breakdowns, the generic comments, the same old tired old tropes and phrases from Devin's supporters. He's gonna outbox Regis, you say, like he outboxed Vasyl Lomachenko?
Oh.
This guy's a lot bigger than Vasyl Lomachenko. Bigger puncher, too, but go on. If you've got Devin, you've got Devin. I feel like Devin's best bet...
Not gonna make any bones about it. He would have to try and age this guy out a bit.
Just a bit. Acclimate to the weight, have 1 or 2 fights there, get used to carrying that much weight.
I mean, it's not gonna be Devin's next fight, you know. That's the silver lining.
He's got time. He's got time to acclimate, and he's got time for father time to catch up to Regis.
But if Regis plows through Zorrilla, then he plows through Jack Catterall.
If he does. If he stops Jack where Josh Taylor couldn't, what kind of odds do you give him against Devin?
Would you give him against Devin?
If he stays a force and stays in character, if push comes to shove.
And Devin's serious about this.
What kind of odds do you give him? We'll find out.